Yes, I hear too.
Let's settle our minds, please, everybody. Close your doors. Make sure there's no television, telephones. Mute them if you're on the laptop. Create a peaceful environment around you. For the next hour or so, I need your mind and your heart with me. This is the forum of love. Anybody who desires should really understand spirituality and rise above the three gunas. You are in the right forum. Otherwise, please don't waste your time. If you're serious about spirituality, then listen to everything which I share with you and practice it. Bring it into you. Change your life. Don't waste your time, please. Time is valuable. You waste time, time will waste you at the end. Just relax your breathing and settle the mind, please. Just completely relax yourself. Thank you very much for taking some time out from a very busy and hectic lifestyle, no doubts, to enhance the beauty of this Sangat. Your presence is invaluable. You are the Sangat. And in the Sangat is the divine. Which Sangat Har Prabhu Vasajiyo, the Hari, the divine Lord, sits in the Sangat of his followers. We are all very privileged. These will be golden moments in your life. The teachings that you take and absorb in time, you will see what wonderful and beautiful teachings they were. Teachings of very old masters of the past, shared with you with lots of love. You are my family. We are all each other's family. Last week, we spoke about Prahlad and Harnakash. We spoke about the superego of Harnakash and the devotion of an 8-year-old child, Prahlad. This event took place in the second circle of time known as Treta. Close your eyes, please. Focus. And let's go even further back into the first cycle of time. This was known as Sat Yoga. And this was the most beautiful of the four yogas, represented by the bull standing on four legs, meaning its divine values were solid. Solid. Peace in this yoga was in abundance. And it was the golden age. Sat means the truth. Sat Yug lasted 1,700,000 years approximately. And in this yoga, truth remained supreme in the heart of the majority of people, whereas in Kal Yuga, hypocrisy is supreme. And the average age of a human was 100,000 years. Just relax your mind. In this yoga was born a child by the name of Dhrum or Dhruv, dependent. In Hinduism, it was Dhruv. In Sikhism, it's Dhrum, but the same person, same name. He was born to a lady of virtue, a very religious lady, a lady of high character, by the name of Mata Suniti. Mata means mother. Suniti was her name. And Dhrum was born into the house of King Uttanpad. He was a prince. The king had two wives. Suniti was Dhrum's mother, and Surichi was the second wife. Surichi, the second wife of the king, was young and pretty, but a very jealous person, a very jealous personality. And because of her age and her nature and the way she influenced the king was under her shadow, under her spell. She had one child, and she had one eye on the throne for her own child. So at every opportunity, she would try to build the relationship between the king and her son and keep Dhrum out of the equation. We are talking about rejection. And Dhrum's stepbrother would often sit on the king's laps and play with the king. One day, Dhrum walked into the court of the king, and sitting on the king's lap was his stepbrother. A desire developed into Dhrum's heart. I want to sit with my father. So he ran towards his father and jumps onto his father's laps, the other lap. And the king started to play with him as well. As it so happened, Surichi, Dhrum's stepmother, was passing by. And she observes that the king was playing with Dhrum, who was sitting on the king's laps. This agitated her, angered her. She did not want her husband, the king, to get close to Dhrum. Much envy, much resentment filled the heart and mind of Surichi. She walks up to the king and she grabs hold of Dhru's arm and pulls him sharply off his father's laps. Dhru fell on the floor, a 5-year-old child, and starts crying. You are not allowed to sit in the king's lap, she screams, and drags the poor child out of the palace. And such was the influence of her beauty over the king that the king kept quiet. Not a word. A 5-year-old child pulled away by his stepmother was a very distressing experience. He was in deep physical and emotional pain. He runs to his mother, who was in another wing of the royal palace. She sees her child crying, sobbing, eyes filled with tears, and his knees and elbows grazed. She runs towards Dhru, gently picks him up onto her laps, and wiping his tears off his cheeks, whilst attending the bleeding knees and elbows, asks, Dhru, what is it? Why are you crying? This event is written, Dhru hasda ਘਰ ਆਇਆ ਕਰ ਪਿਆਰ ਪਿਓ ਕੋ ਛੜ ਲੀਤਾ ਬਾਹੋਂ ਪਕੜੇ ਉਠਾ ਲਿਆ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੋਸ ਮਤਰੇਈ ਕੀਤਾ. What is it? Why are you crying? Dhru narrates the whole incident. His mother looked at Dhru and said, Dhru, my child, you must never sit on the king's laps again. Confused, Dhru asks, Mother, why not? Am I not the king's son? You are. Are you not his wife? Or are you his mistress? Who are you? Please explain. I am his wife, she replies, and then she went quiet. And again this event is narrated. Dadhon leka ma puche, tu savani hai ke surita. Savani ha janmadi, namana bhakti karma dharadita. Dhru looks at his mother. Why are we in this position? Why are we so unloved? What have we done to deserve such attitude of other people towards us? Mother, please tell me. What can we do? And being a religious lady, she replies, my child, we are hated because we did not meditate. We did not show any devotion to the divine. Dhru looks at his mother. Then what can I do to obtain happiness and love? How can I become a king? How can our enemies, people that loathe us, that hate us, become our friends? The mother replied, my child, worship the divine. Only through devotional worship of the divine will you achieve all that your heart desires and eternal bliss. Again, this is narrated. Kis uddam te raj mile, satru te sab hovan mita. Parmesar aradhiya jiddu hoye patatupnita. Parmesar. Go worship the divine. Dhru went quiet. Night came. He hugs kisses his mother, thanking her, and goes to sleep. But in his mind, he's thinking, if that's all it takes, then I am going to start meditation of the divine. Rejection being turned into a positive attribute. Not anger, not frustration like we sometimes feel, no. A positive attribute started from the right guidance of the mother. Night came and Thrun could not sleep. All he could see was the fire of anger in his stepmother's eyes. Over and over again, the whole event played in his mind. He looked at his mother, and when she was fast asleep, he quietly gets out of his bed. Barefooted, he walks out of the palace and into the deep, dark jungles. Bahar chalya tap karn tap, man bairagi hoye atita. Now, this is something I need you to understand. A rejection can create anger or it can create bairag. What is bairag? Bairag is that attribute that is going to make you understand the illusion and take you towards the divine. Anger is something that is going to suck you into the Maya. Through right guidance, he became a bairagi. A 5-year-old child walking in the jungle, many frightening sounds resounding in the jungle. But they were nothing compared to the feelings of rejection he had experienced. And as he was walking alone into the jungle, thoughts arising in his mind. Lord, I do not know who you are. I don't even know how to pray to you. I don't even know your name. But my mother tells me that if I pray to you, then you will grant me whatever my heart desires. This is devotion. After a long walk, Thrun sits down for a rest. And so tired was he, so exhausted was he emotionally and physically, that the moment he closed his eyes, he fell asleep. He wakes up in the morning to a magnificent sight of the blossom of the flowers, the warm rays of the sun shining through the branches of the trees, the birds chirping away, the little animals playing around. He walks up to a flowing stream and he takes a sip of water. And he sits next to the stream, not sure what to do next. After all, he was only 5. He had no ideas. But one thing he knew was that the only person who could fix all his problems was the divine. But who was this divine? What was his name? How do I pray to him? What do I do? His innocent young mind thinking, where is God? And if God appears, how will I recognize him? As he's deep in thought, he hears a crunching of leaves. He looks and sees a saintly figure. The excited little boy gets up and runs towards this saintly figure. Thinking that the divine had come. In his excitement, he shouts, Bhagwan, Bhagwan, because he had heard his mother use this term, Bhagwan. I have found you. The saint replies, no, my child, I am not Bhagwan. On hearing this, Thrun becomes very sad, very despondent. The saint looked at Thrun and sensed something was not right. He smiled, he goes, my child, I am Narada Muni. Narada Muni was a very, very famous saint at the time. You must be the young prince. Yes, replied Thrun. Your father is searching for you. You must go back. The jungle is not a safe place for you. Thrun refused to go back. So Narada Muni sits next to Thrun and putting his arm around him, asks him, "Son, what is the matter?" With tears rolling down his cheeks, Drone narrates the whole story of how he wanted to play with his father and how his stepmother pushed him off, and how his mother told him to remember the divine, for the divine can fix all my problems. Narad Muni was impressed with the love and devotion the child had shown. He places his hand on the young child's head and said, "My child, if you really wish to meet Bhagwan, then repeat after me. Kesav Kalesh Hari, Kesav Kalesh Hari, Keshav Kalesh Hari, Keshav Kalesh Hari. My divine, kill all my problems. Chant this mantra in devotion, my child. The divine will look after you." The child did as he was told, and when he opened his eyes to thank the saint, Narad was nowhere to be seen. So the 5-year-old child, determined to meet the divine, found a rock and sat on his rock, and in innocence he started his meditation of the mantra, Kesava Kalesha Hari, Kesava Kalesha Hari. So intense was Dhruva's meditation, the hurt feelings, the passion, the neglect, the rejection, all made his focus on the divine so much more stronger, that the texts say that the Lord Vishnu appeared in front of Dhruva. My child, I am happy. With the purity of your devotion, you will rule the kingdom for 36,000 years was a blessing given, and your name will last as long as time itself. Pichon Raje Sadhya, Avchala Raj Karho Netnita, Har Chale Gurmukh Jag Jita. And Dhruva took over his father's kingdom, and he was recognized as not only a beautiful king who looked after his kingdom, but also a very divine soul whose name is still being repeated in Kali Yuga. And he will live until the end of time. So rejection. An expression that manifests itself in many ways. And needless to say, it's an action that we have given and received. How many times in a day we reject people? Self-evaluate yourself. And this rejection can be overt, equally it can be covert. Loss of a loved one, a crisis in a relationship, the way we behave. For whatever the reasons, the wounds inflicted by rejection are deep and painful. But let's look at rejection in the context of spirituality. What's the first teaching in spirituality? Do not search for happiness and a belonging from a society or any other form of relationship born from the 3 modes of Maya. First rule. Remember last week I said, do not keep your feet in both boats. When we are rowing and rowing and rowing while our boat is still shackled to the moors. And this is how we develop our relationships. So the first rule of principal rule of spirituality is understand the illusion. Why? Because any relationship that is influenced by the 3 modes of Maya will never give you peace. Learn it the easy way or learn it the hard way. Your choice. but learn you will. You will not find a permanent belonging. Second teaching, as much as you do, you will never be enough. Understand that. You will never be enough for the world and for your relationships. Let that sink into you. Absorb it. As much as you do for this world, in your relationships, for your loved ones, you will never be enough. And at some point, even in the most perfect of relationships, rejection is not far away. It's only a matter of time. However, for those who have risen above the three modes of Maya, there is no concept of rejection. Remember the journey we spoke about? That everybody becomes us. Once you are in that frame of mind, you do not even understand what rejection is. All you understand is the accommodating nature of love. And those who rise above the three modes of Maya, their existence is not based upon the approval of others. Whether the others accept them or reject them, it makes no difference. You know why? Because they are rooted in the love of the divine. The pain of rejection in the three modes is very difficult to bear. In the three modes, Rajguna, Tamaguna, Sattvic, rejection is an emotional baggage that crushes our soul. How many people, they've gone to 50, 60, 70 years old, but they still have memories of rejection by their parents or by a job that wasn't given to them or their friends. You know, it still sticks. Playground memories still stick in your mind. They don't go away. It paralyzes our soul. And in the three modes of Maya, rejection will simply prevent one from moving forward. Rejection will steal the beauty of living. Rejection will leave a feeling of inferiority, guilt, anger, self-condemnation. And those people who have been rejected often result in an inability to receive or express love. But understand, we are not the only ones who are victims of rejection. Even prophets of the divine are not immune from rejection. Jesus was rejected. Guru Nanak was rejected. Many prophets are being rejected. So ask yourself one thing. Living in the three modes of Maya, are you searching for the approval of those people? Do you need their approval? They will love you today, they will hate you tomorrow. They are yours today, they'll be somebody else's tomorrow. And on that, you want to base your happiness? Do you? Do you want to survive or thrive? What do you want to do? If you want to survive, go to carry on. Dukh sukh janam ka kartufun muva charna kamal gorya asram diya. Pain, pain, laughing, that's the life you'll have. Nothing will be true. Or do you want to thrive? If you want to thrive, then let's go back to the teachings. When Tarun was rejected and he went to his mother, the first advice she gave was meditate on the divine. And that advice changed the course of his life. The only way you're going to rise above the three modes or be able to live in the three modes is through the power of meditation. No other way. Sarva roka okhad naam. For every ailment, there is only one medication, and that is naam. Shabd mantra. Whether that be Jesus, whether that be Muhammad, whether that be Allah, whether that be Buddha, whether that be Vaheguru or Satnam, doesn't matter. That is the only medication we have in Kaljug. There is no other medication. There is nothing there that will handle and heal us other than the name of the divine, and take that as a gospel truth. But meditation under the direction and the blessings of a pious soul. Everybody meditates, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Allah, Allah, Jesus, Jesus, Ram, Ram. But the anger and the frustrations of the mind don't disappear. So the blessings of a pious soul is very important. And as you meditate under the guidance of a pious soul, your sensitivity, not just to rejection, but any aspect of negativity around you, will reduce. They will say good about you, it will not affect you. They will say bad about you, it will not affect you. They will accept you, it will not affect you. They will reject you, it will not affect you. They will praise you, it will not affect you. They will demoral, doesn't matter. The effects of Maya will begin to lessen, because through meditation one will begin to understand the play, the illusion, that all that we see and experience, however real it feels, is simply an illusion of Maya. Everything will disappear into the sands of time. Meditation will teach us that all the sources of our pain is born from the expectation and the attachments in the three modes of Maya. And yet, lured by false expectations in this illusion, we drift away from the divine. Just look at yourselves, reflect on yourself. And the more we drift away from the divine, the more we drift towards the degradation of Maya. Remember, the home that you belong to is not in the three modes of Maya. You are divine. That is who you are. Your home is above the illusion of the three modes of Maya. And as we attach our senses to the divine, a natural withdrawal of our senses from this illusion will begin. All fears and negative emotions will begin to disappear. My master used to say, when you face the sun, your shadow will fall behind you. When you go towards the divine, all negativity will be behind you. It makes no difference to you. And for a spiritualist, rejection is a blessing, because rejection becomes a process of separation from the three modes of Maya. From the false illusion that this world was ever yours. It is not. We live in this world, we enjoy this world, we work in this world, we build our careers in this world, you run your businesses in this world, you have your holidays in this world, but don't lose yourself in this world. Learn to enjoy, but not to lose yourself. This world was never meant to be yours, and it never will be yours. I remember sitting in my back room with my master once, and he said to me, "Your son, the path of the divine can only be truly attained when the focus of your mind withdraws from the world, when it rejects the world before the world rejects you." But you know what happens? We're all misled because we all have mistaken identity issues. I will say I'm a father and I belong to this and I'm this, but I will never say I am divine. It's a mistaken identity. You are all divine. And in this mistaken identity, we align ourselves to the world of Maya. Understand, we are the children of the divine, and all other relationships are temporary and karmic, and will only give us a fleeting sense of pain and pleasure, just a fleeting strength. So if you have been rejected, fine. I think it's a blessing. Those people that have rejected you, they don't need to be part of your life. They don't deserve to be part of your life. Let the divine become your strength. Meditate. Spend time in the satsang of the divine souls. Our divine Father will never reject us. And as we meditate on the name of our divine Father, in time, we will rise above the three modes of Maya and enter into our Gagan, the 10th gate of our true home. But this cannot be done with the strength of the mind. You cannot force yourself. Only through Shabd Mantra, True Guru, and a Sangat of the pious soul. This is a triad we need to understand. And in the company of the pious, our souls will be released from this inflictions of the mind. We will be flown away from the tasteless and painful ras. Ras is taste of this world, to the beautiful and absolute Maharas, the great, pure, and true taste of the divine. So if you want to find your place, under the true Guru, start your meditation. Whichever religion you belong to, please stay there. Unless we do not rise above the three modes of Maya, we will be in perpetual pain. So much pain in the Rajgun, Tamgun, and Sattvic. No one needs to suffer. You just need to understand. Where we are investing our time is fruitless, tasteless, and fleeting. It's a bondage. Set yourself free if you can. And once you break this prison of yours, and set yourself free, you will help other people. You will set other people free, open the doors to their cage so they can also fly. Carry no anger or animosity, please. Respect your words. No shouting, no swearing. They have a profound impact on your spirituality. Nanaka phikka bolya tan man phikka hoy. The words that you speak, the tone that you speak them in, will have a profound impact on your spirituality and your peace of mind. Wear those clothes which are pleasing to the divine. Stay humble. Meditate. Keep in your faith. You will not find a better friend than the Divine Lord. Everybody else will let you down. We live in a karmic world. We are swimming in the sea of karma. Love is the only way. There are no systems or techniques in the house of the divine. We can fool other people with our words, but one day we will face our mortality and we will have to answer at that point. If you want to remember the divine, then remember your end. We have forgotten our mortality, and in this illusion we think we will live forever. But my friends, that is not going to happen. And then it'll simply be too late. Today you have the opportunity to change today. Forget what happened yesterday. Leave it in the past. Today, right this moment. Don't put your feet in both boats, please. You will drown. You will neither live in the world or neither will you live for the divine. You'll be nowhere. You want to live for the world? Go live for the world. Enjoy, party, drink, whatever you want. But don't mix the two together. You're only fooling yourself, no one else. Identify who you are. That is when this journey will start. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Baji. So I'm just wondering